For my next video, I'd like to do one on how to save battery life. And this is going to be a fairly important video. I'm going to go over several different steps. Some you may know of, some you may not. And just to preface, I'm using my Samsung S25 Ultra and the One UI 8.5 Beta 4. This will work on any Samsung device, potentially any Android device, although a lot of these are going to be drilled more towards the Samsung line of things, also the Samsung tablet, etc. So, as I like to say, let's dig right in. So, I haven't counted these, I just took note on how many I have, so we'll get to the end and we'll figure out how many there are. I think there's going to be 6 to 7, somewhere around there, and there's some really good ones that take up a lot of battery life. So, okay, so here we go. So first off, go into the settings. And you'll want to scroll down to Google. Google. Where did I pass it? There we go, Google Services, okay. And then All Services. And we're looking for Scan for Devices. I wonder if it was under Devices. Probably Scan for Devices. Yeah, okay. So Devices. Yep. And then Scan for Nearby Devices. You want to turn that off. So right now it was off. So you don't want your phone looking for other devices and using its battery. Okay? You don't want it, and then here's Save Devices. Automatically save devices if I have it, which I have none that I've looked for and found. So what this does is scan for devices and will automatically connect to them all the time. It always is using battery. It's always looking for something to connect to, and you don't need that. Okay? So turn that one off. Next is connections. Okay, so that one you're going to want to go out all the way, and then here's connections. And then you want to go to more connections, more connection settings. Then there's another one, nearby device scanning. Turn that off. You don't need that. Same principle. We don't need that. Your phone will scan for devices nearby and let you connect to them in a pop-up or a notification panel. Your phone uses Bluetooth for nearby device scanning, even when the Bluetooth is turned off. So you don't need that on. Okay, so we'll turn that one off. Next one, same page, printing. Okay, you want this turned off. Now, even though I have that off, doesn't mean that I cannot still print. I can. I just don't need to be looking for other printers. My printer, so again, even though I can print with this, it prints just fine. I've already connected to my printer. It doesn't need to be on looking for more printers. Okay, so printing off. That's 3. Let's keep track here. Next one is go back to the beginning here. And we're looking for digital well-being. Okay. Digital well-being and parental controls. Okay, I'm going to turn that off. And what we want is we want to look for usage data. I think that's in the 3 menus. Settings. Sorry, I'm trying to do this by memory. And then usage data. Okay, usage data is going to keep track all day long, every second of the day, how much usage you're using your phone for. I don't care how long I use my phone. I know I'm using it. That's why I'm using it, is I want to use it. I don't care to look back and say, oh, I used it for 8 hours. Oh my. To me, that's irrelevant. So, and that's what it says here. Allow access to usage data to view your usage information. Allow digital well-being to access your usage data and settings. No, I don't want that on. That's going to constantly take up battery life. It's going to constantly be sitting there thinking how long it's on. And it's just, to me, again, it's a waste of battery life. So there's 4. Okay, now let's go to one that really takes up a lot of battery life. We're back to the main settings, and we're going to go to notification and app notifications. Okay, this is a real simple one. And if you're like me, what am I doing here? If you're like me, you don't want to get a lot of notifications from apps, especially apps that you don't really use, and get notifications all the time. Not only is it a pain in the butt having to swipe them off, delete them, etc., but they're taking battery life. Any app that's on in this list will take battery life and will take down your battery, which is sometimes not needed on these apps. So I'm going to scroll down Android Auto. If I'm using Android Auto, I want that on. Okay, I'm going to keep scrolling. Calendar, I want to know when certain events come up, so I'm going to leave that on. Clock, that's kind of a no-brainer. What else do I have on? Galaxy Watch, I have my watch on. Good Guardians, I don't need that. So, and you want to also kind of manage these every once in a while. Sometimes the app will turn this on, saying, well, to backtrack, sometimes using one of these apps will turn the notifications on, saying to be able to use, you must turn your notification on. So what I do is I turn it on, use the app, then go back and out and uncheck it because it's wasting my battery. Okay, Google Play services, I don't really need that. I check my Google Play Store for my apps almost every day to see if they're out of date or if they need updating, etc. Link to Windows, I do use that fairly often to link my phone to a Windows computer. Maps, that's an obvious one, especially if you use it. And some of these you may not use every day, but you know you're going to use them someday and you want them on just in case. But like, for example, Maps, the reality is I could turn that off because I don't use it that often. But when I do, I want to know, how long is it going to take to get to point A to point B and notifications along the way, etc. So almost all of my messaging apps are turned on, so I know I'm getting the message. So Messages, Messenger, My Chart, that one I keep on. Phone, that's a no-brainer. You want to know when you're getting a call. This one I'm going to turn off. I don't need that. It's a language assistant. Reminders, that's another no-brainer. I want to know I've got reminders, but if I don't know when to get them and put a notification on, I'm not going to get anything. Samsung Find, Samsung Health, I have those on. Samsung Wallet, I have that on. Smart Switch, I don't really need that on. That's if I'm switching or backing up. Telegram, another app. That's an encrypted app. Encrypted messaging app, that is. Tozo, that's a headphone app. See, a lot of these, I haven't gone through this in a while, so a lot of these I don't need on. Voice, that's another phone service that I can use for Google that gives you another phone number. So I need that on, actually. Weather, I'd like to know the weather. WhatsApp, I don't use WhatsApp enough to leave that on. Wix, that tells me who's on my website and where they're from. And that's it. So that's quite a few. That's going to make a big dent in my battery life. So that was a good one. So that's what, 4 or 5 of them. Okay, the next one is 2 more. We have location. So let's find our location tab, or yeah, tab, location. Okay, location. And we're going to do app permissions. You want to leave it on, but there's a lot of apps that I can tell you right now do not need to know where I'm at, ever, at all. Okay, so here's some that's allowed all the time, the Android system. You could actually turn all these off if you really wanted to be safe. The weather I have on, so I know if I'm 50 miles from my home, it's going to report the correct weather. So allow while only in use, like auto, Android Auto, Burger King, stuff like that will tell me my location so I get the most up-to-date place. Ask every time and not allowed at all. So you just need to go through your apps and pick the ones that are not, pick apps with the permission that can access your device's location. So the ones especially allowed all the time, I don't know if I agree with that. So those are some pretty iffy ones. I don't think Bixby needs to know at all, ever. So we're gonna, there's an example right there, one that I'm turning off. Now Samsung Find, here's one that does. So say for example, I sit my phone down, I lose it, I can't find it. That's going to be on there and running in the background to show me where it's at. So you just got to pick and choose which apps you think are going to be important and which ones are not for the location for this particular category. Okay. So last but not least, well, this is the least, is battery. So this is last and least. How's that? We'll go down to, we want battery. Okay. And we're going to go background usage limits. And then, we don't need that. You can put unused apps to sleep. I put that on. And then I have sleeping apps are 2. And then I have deep sleeping apps are 100. Now what this does is it puts apps to sleep that you don't use very often. Some apps on your phone will all of a sudden on Android will just pop right up. And it's been a long-term issue of Android, especially in the past before they've had the more superior intelligent operating system like they have now, that in the past it would just leave them open and eventually you'd have about 50 apps running and your phone would be useless. You'd have to restart it. Now they have this, that it limits the apps and deep sleeps them if you set it on here. So this is a big one. This really limits your battery life, will help you with battery life. And then finally, there's 2 in this one. That one, background use, and then battery protection. I have this on to basic. So there's a couple settings here, okay? So let's start right out here. Keeping your battery at a full 100% charge for a long time can reduce its lifespan. So you have to remember, batteries don't like 2 things. They don't like to be hot and they don't like to be full. They don't like to be 100% full. They expand when they're hot and they expand when they're 100%. So if you leave your battery 100%, you're damaging it, okay? Keeping your battery at 100% charge for a long time can reduce its lifespan. Choose an option below to protect the battery and make it last longer. So they have this feature that I like, basic. When your battery is charged to 100%, charging will stop until the battery level drops to 95%, and then charging will start again. That's a good one. The next one is good as well. Charging will stop at a level you set. So you can set what you want. The lower the level, the more you can extend your battery's lifespan. And then the final one, sleep time protection. Stop charging at 80% while you're asleep and finish charging to 100% just before you wake up. And it actually keeps track and knows over so long of a period of time when you normally go to bed and when you wake up. And shortly before you wake up, if you're on the same sleep schedule as normal, as constant every day, it will start charging back in, knowing that you have X number of minutes, hours before you wake up. It'll start charging and finish it off to 100%. So it's a pretty neat thing there to make your battery last longer. Okay, so that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Technically 7 with 8 on the one, so 8 different ways on how to protect your battery life and make your battery last longer. Okay, so I hope you found my video to be helpful. Thank you for being here. Please click like and subscribe to my channel. Leave me a comment down below. Thank you for your time, and until next time, I'm out.